To show she didn't care about me, Chloe was carrying the bag I bought her and wearing the necklace I gave her, while yelling at me in public, saying I had no right to even think about her like that. She even yelled at her parents when they told her to stop being so mean. Later, when I came home for New Year's with a cut on my lip, she made fun of me, asking, "Did a dog bite you again?" In front of everyone watching, I answered word by word, "No, my girlfriend kissed me." Her face went dark immediately. On the last day of the year, my mom had told me to come home early for New Year's, but I got there late at night. Walking in, I saw Chloe and her parents waiting in the living room. She looked at me with her eyes narrowed, a bit of dislike in her look. "Ethan," she said, "did a dog bite you again?" When I was 5, I insisted on playing with a puppy and got bitten, which meant I needed 3 shots. Chloe had come with me back then, but she never let me forget it. Everyone laughed at the memory, so I touched my mouth, realizing the cut had formed a scab and was pretty noticeable. Through their laughter, I responded, "No, my girlfriend bit me this morning." Silence. In the quiet, only Chloe's face turned pale. After all, we were supposed to get married. Our families have known that since we are kids. The silence was heavy until Chloe's mother, Mrs. Davis, spoke up. "So Ethan has a girlfriend now?" I politely confirmed, "Yes, a classmate from my school." Noticing Chloe's surprised look, I continued, "She couldn't come this time, but after New Year's I'll bring her around to meet everyone." In the next moment, Chloe's face turned red with anger, and she shouted, "Who wants to eat with you all?" She ran off to the balcony, leaving her mother to look worriedly at me before following her outside. Shrugging at the awkwardness left with the others, I took my suitcase to my room. Parts of the argument drifted in from the balcony. Mrs. Davis's voice was clear. "You were the one who said you didn't like Ethan, and now he has a girlfriend, and you're acting like this?" Silence followed her words, until Chloe finally replied, "Well, I still don't approve." I chuckled quietly. 3 years ago, at a family get-together, Mrs. Davis had joked, calling me her future son-in-law. Chloe had exploded, accusing her mother of joking badly and saying she didn't like me at all. She then turned on me, demanding I stay away and not have any thoughts about her. Her father had slapped her right there, but Chloe blamed me for all of it. Our friendship got bad, and when it was time to choose a college, I picked one far from her, all the way in the Southwest. I thought we'd just stay childhood friends after that. But now, what was Chloe trying to do? After changing into more comfortable clothes, I found Chloe already sitting at the dinner table. Somehow her mother had calmed her down, and she looked less angry than before. During dinner, everyone carefully avoided bringing up the earlier conversation, asking only about my studies instead. Just as things started to feel normal, my phone buzzed. I glanced at who was calling, a slight smile on my lips. "Excuse me, Auntie. You all go ahead," I said, stepping outside to answer. It was my girlfriend, Olivia, her voice sweet as she checked if I'd had dinner. I teased her. "How did you bite my lip so hard it bled? I didn't even realize." Olivia huffed a little on the other end before muttering, "I did it on purpose." Just as I was about to respond, there was a loud bang behind me. I turned to see Chloe, her face red with annoyance. "Are you coming back to eat or not? If not, I'll start doing the dishes," she snapped. Olivia overheard her and asked, "Have you not eaten yet? Should I order you some food for later?" Chloe bit her lip at the sound of Olivia's voice. "Who's that?" she demanded. Meeting her gaze, I said clearly and slowly, "My girlfriend." After a moment of silence, Olivia softly replied, "Call me later tonight, okay?" The line went dead. Now, standing by the entrance, a heavy silence hung between Chloe and me. She stared at my lips for a long time, before finally asking, "How long have you two been dating if you're already kissing?" I switched off my phone and answered, "Almost a year." She furrowed her brow, then asked, "Why have I never heard you mention her?" I realized she was probably referring to my lack of social media updates. After our fight, I hadn't unfriended her, but we barely talked, and I rarely posted anything, never changed my profile picture, and certainly never shared anything about Olivia. "I forgot to update," I said, putting my phone in my pocket. Chloe let out a little laugh, almost relieved. "Guess you don't like her that much then, huh?" I looked at her, puzzled. "What makes you say that?" She shrugged. "If you really liked her, wouldn't you at least mention her?" I shook my head, annoyed. "No, I really do like her." I held her gaze, wanting her to understand I wasn't lying. Chloe's eyes met mine, a flicker of worry passing over her expression. Not wanting to talk anymore, I turned to leave. Just as I walked past her, she murmured, almost to herself, "How could you move on so quickly?" 3 years ago, after Chloe embarrassed me in front of her parents, I was genuinely upset, but only for a while. Growing up, we had been close friends, almost always together. She even sent me confusing signals from time to time. In high school, romance novels became popular, and people around us often joked about us being a classic childhood sweethearts couple. Chloe never once turned down any of my friendly gestures. On the contrary, she even asked me for Valentine's Day gifts. I thought she liked me too. But that night at the gathering, she embarrassed me right in front of our families. The next day, my friend told me Chloe had started dating Noah, the popular guy who had openly liked her for years. At the graduation party, Noah had confessed to her in front of everyone, teachers included. Although she hadn't responded then, the very day after she embarrassed me, they got together. I opened WeChat, and there it was, a post from Noah declaring their relationship. In the picture, he and Chloe were leaning close, looking happy. My close friends, who knew of my long-standing, rumored romance with Chloe, started texting me, asking what was going on. Thankfully, I'd never been one to post much on social media. Otherwise, I'd have had to explain myself to everyone. With a calm smile, I put my phone down and decided to cut Chloe out of my life. I didn't have much time to be sad. I'd once promised Chloe that we'd both stay near the coast, but I broke that promise. When it was time to choose a college, I picked one in the Southwest. That summer, encouraged by my parents, I got my driver's license, learned to swim, and even traveled to several cities. With a busy schedule, any unnecessary emotions simply got pushed aside. My mom mentioned that Mr. Davis had brought Chloe over to our house a few times, but I was either away on a trip or in class. It wasn't until right before the semester started, while helping my mom pack, that I saw Chloe again. Mr. Davis looked at me and remarked, "You've gotten tan." I nodded, explaining I'd been to a lot of places. Chloe said nothing, just glanced at me now and then. In a rare moment of silence, she gave me a long look before leaving. That night, just before bed, I scrolled through my feed and saw a post from Noah. It read, "Sometimes a childhood friend can't beat fate. What you can't have will always feel out of reach." Someone had asked him in the comments, "What happened?" Noah's reply was simple. "We broke up." Only then did I understand why Chloe had looked so sad earlier. She and Noah had broken up. Still, Noah's words, about childhood friends losing out to fate, left me confused. As far as I knew, Chloe didn't have any other childhood friends besides me. In the past, I might have gone to Chloe to clear things up. But over the summer, I'd come to realize that Chloe and I would, at most, remain just friends. I wouldn't let her affect me anymore. On the day I left for school, I turned off my phone before boarding, missing Chloe's last message to me. "Why did you choose that university?" College life was busy. I took on a second major, filling my schedule even on weekends. It wasn't until Chloe messaged me one day that I realized I hadn't thought about her in a long time. She was asking me to buy something online for her. Sorry, I don't have that app, I replied. After a long pause, she finally responded with a simple, "It's fine." I wasn't in the mood for small talk, so I put my phone down and continued with my homework. When the library closed, I noticed she'd sent another message 5 hours earlier. "When does your summer break start?" I didn't reply. When my mind drifted back to the present, Chloe's question replayed in my head, wondering how I could move on so quickly. A strange thought crossed my mind, but I brushed it off quickly. "I don't understand what you mean," I said, heading back to my room. On the day I returned to campus, Olivia was there to meet me at the station. The moment she saw me, she clung to my arm and said, "You must be tired. Let's go eat something nice." As we walked, Olivia's face seemed a little off. I asked her what was wrong. After a moment of hesitation, she said, "About the other day, when I bit your lip, I'm really sorry. It's just that—" She lowered her eyes, then added, "I just felt really insecure." Once, Olivia and I had talked about past relationships, and I'd been honest, telling her about my feelings for Chloe. She'd brushed it off back then, but I'd caught the worry in her expression, the same look she had now, both sad and anxious. Gently, I took her hand and said, "It's okay. I never blamed you." Olivia and I first met in a funny way. One day, the library was closing early for the holidays. On my way back to my dorm with an armful of books, a puppy suddenly jumped out of the bushes. We made eye contact, and it ran over to nuzzle my leg. I knelt to pet it, and it wouldn't leave my side. The collar around its neck showed it wasn't a stray, so I had no choice but to sit and wait for its owner to show up. After a few moments, the little dog started pawing at me, then curled up in my lap and fell asleep. Minutes later, a girl came rushing over. She glanced at me holding the puppy and clasped her hands in thanks, apologizing a lot. It was her dog. To thank me, she added me on WeChat. That girl was Olivia. Olivia was a freshman, a year behind me. When we first met, she often showed up at the library, bringing me lunch under the excuse of thanking me or asking me for help with general education courses. Slowly, she became a normal part of my life, and even my friends couldn't stop praising her. Soon enough, I grew used to having her around. I was pretty sure I knew her feelings, but memories of the mess with Chloe made me hesitant to take the next step. Who knew if she'd turn around and tell me I'd misread things, just like Chloe once had? Then, one day, Olivia brought me a homemade lunchbox. My hand slipped, and it fell to the ground. At that moment, I remembered all those mornings I'd brought breakfast for Chloe, who never once thanked me. In fact, the one time I accidentally spilled a bowl of soup, she threw a tantrum, refusing any apologies, and eventually tossing the entire breakfast in front of me. So, almost without thinking, I glanced at Olivia's expression. She was briefly startled, but then knelt down, quietly cleaning up the spilled food with a napkin. I crouched down to help, guilt filling me. "I'm so sorry for wasting your effort," I said. Olivia shook her head, looking at me with a gentle smile. "Everyone can be a bit clumsy sometimes." Chloe had once told me so-called wisdom that said if you truly loved a girl, you should tolerate her temper, accept her bad moods. When I disagreed with her, she would call me unfit to have a girlfriend. But now, here Olivia was, forgiving my mistake without a hint of anger. I asked, "You're not mad?" Olivia looked at me, surprised by the question. Then she laughed. "You didn't do it on purpose. I can make another one for you, no problem." Yes, understanding should go both ways. So should patience. Why did some people just not get that? Olivia's words were like a warm breeze, melting something frozen inside me. One day she was sitting across from me in the library, passing me a little note that read, "Would you be my boyfriend? Please, senior, if you turn me down, I'll cry." Her signature was a little drawing of a puppy with teary eyes. I couldn't help but laugh. At that moment, I knew I'd fully moved on. Who could possibly let a girl this adorable cry? So I wrote back, "Only if you promise not to cry, girlfriend." Olivia wasn't the kind of girl who just took without giving back. Every holiday we'd plan little gifts and surprises for each other. And she was never picky. We'd always openly share ideas for presents instead of playing guessing games. She got me a full set of game skins, and I helped her plan her dream vacation. For the long weekend in October, we even went on a trip to a coastal city. Olivia took a perfect picture at the beach and tucked it behind her phone case. We had an incredible time, like both a couple and close friends, enjoying 3 days and 2 nights of laughter. But on our way back, an unexpected visitor almost broke that happiness. As we held hands, walking back to campus, my roommate called. "Hey, Ethan, your sister came by looking for you. She's waiting downstairs." I paused. "Which sister?" "No idea, but she's gorgeous. A bunch of guys have already tried to get her number." Right as I reached the dorm, I spotted her. Chloe in the middle of a crowd. She noticed me and was about to say hello when she saw Olivia and me holding hands. Her eyes instantly turned red. Chloe offered to take Olivia and me out for coffee. As we sat down, Chloe asked, "And she is?" "This is my girlfriend, Olivia," I replied, introducing Chloe as the girl next door. Chloe's face turned pale. Olivia, holding her coffee, leaned closer to me with a playful smile and said to Chloe, "Aren't you a cute little auntie?" Chloe bit her lip. "Little auntie?" Sensing the tension, Olivia announced, "I ordered some cake from next door. I'll go pick them up." She left the table. I rubbed my temples, watching the foam swirl in my latte. "When did you start drinking coffee?" Chloe broke the silence. Back before college, my mother would prepare tea for both of us, so I'd never needed coffee to stay awake. "I started when I was studying for finals. Got too tired, so I switched to coffee." "I thought you'd always stick with tea," she said, a hint of something in her tone. Stirring my coffee, I replied, "People change." I met her gaze and asked, "What are you doing here?" She replied, her tone stiff, "As your childhood friend, I'm just here to see if your girlfriend is a good fit." The way she emphasized childhood friend had a touch of bitterness. As Chloe and I sat in silence, Olivia returned with the cake. While unwrapping it, she casually remarked to Chloe, "Ethan and I both love the cheesecake and coffee here." She placed the cake in front of us, almost like she was showing off something precious. Chloe glared at her, looking anything but pleased. Olivia, sensing the tension, moved closer to me, resting her head on my shoulder. "Why do I feel like little auntie doesn't like me?" she whispered, loud enough for Chloe to hear. Chloe's expression grew even darker. I ruffled Olivia's hair and reassured her, "Nothing to worry about." Under Chloe's frustrated gaze, I took Olivia's hand and said, "Olivia and I have plans at the library, so thanks for the coffee, Chloe." I placed some money on the table, and without another glance at Chloe, I let Olivia out. On the way back, Olivia's unusual behavior replayed in my mind. Typically kind and polite, Olivia rarely went out of her way to make someone uncomfortable. Today, though, she seemed to make Chloe's mood worse with every little move. My instincts told me she'd figured out who Chloe was. Sure enough, Olivia asked, "She's the childhood friend you once liked, isn't she?" I nodded. "Yes, that's her. But it's all in the past now." Olivia, still clinging to my arm, said softly, "I trust you," though her worried eyes showed her uncertainty. I thought that would be the last I'd see of Chloe, but the next day, Olivia's roommate called, sounding frantic. "Ethan, get to the hospital! Olivia's been hurt!" I rushed over, only to find Olivia sitting on a bench, red-eyed, with Chloe seated at the far end. The moment she saw me, Olivia huddled into my arms, looking about to speak, but Chloe cut in. "Ethan, I saw her all lovey-dovey with another guy, laughing like it was nothing." Chloe held up her phone, showing me a photo of Olivia with her arm around a guy, smiling as they talked. Chloe muttered, "See? I told you she's not right for you." She shot me a proud glance now and then. Cutting her off, I said, "That's Olivia's cousin. I know him." Chloe froze, momentarily stunned. Then she huffed. "You don't have to defend her. It's not like you've ever had great taste." I replied calmly, "This isn't about defending anyone. Olivia introduced me to her family when we started dating." Turning to her, I added, "If my taste were really that bad, I wouldn't have liked you back then." Chloe's face went pale, her eyes filling with tears. "How can you say that?" Ignoring her, I checked Olivia's injuries. Her tearful face looked like a kitten whose food bowl had been taken. Without looking up, I spoke to Chloe. "It's time for you to head back to campus. You're not only upsetting my girlfriend, but you're also making her feel insecure." Watching Chloe's shocked expression, I added, "Please don't come back again. If you do, I'll have to speak to your father about this." Chloe left, looking devastated. That evening, I walked Olivia to her dorm. She chatted as usual, saying she wanted to ride the Ferris wheel with me the next day, since it was supposed to be clear. She said it'd be the perfect night for stargazing. But the next day at noon, my mom called, sounding concerned. "Chloe told me she saw Olivia hugging another guy. What's going on?" A surge of frustration hit me. Frustration at Chloe for twisting the truth, for constantly interfering. The thought lingered all day, and when we finally reached the Ferris wheel's peak, Olivia tried to kiss me, but I was too distracted to respond. When I came to my senses, Olivia was looking at me, tears shining in her eyes under the lights. Before I could apologize, she spoke first. "Ethan, is something bothering you? Let's take a few days to cool off. I'll wait for you." Olivia, usually so cheerful, was shedding tears because of me. Guilt settled heavily on my chest. Though clearly upset, she still held my hand as we walked back. Before heading inside, she looked down, her shoulders slumped. "Ethan, the things I give you, they're the things I want too." I kept replaying Olivia's words in my mind after she left. On weekends, we'd usually spend all our time together, but that day, she went alone to the lab. I found myself wandering into a bookstore, a rare occasion. At checkout, I sensed someone watching me. Looking up, I saw a guy I didn't recognize. He was holding a book, and walked over. Out of politeness, I smiled, but he said, "I know you." I blinked in surprise, as I'd never seen him before. He smiled back. "From Olivia's social media." Pointing to the counter, he added, "I used to have a thing for Olivia." Seeing my startled reaction, he chuckled. "Relax, it never worked out. I'm just saying I tried." Then he shared his story with me. They were classmates in high school. Olivia was popular and admired for her looks and grades, a name everyone in school knew. Meanwhile, he was the classic popular guy. At the time, people thought they'd make a perfect match, constantly encouraging him to confess. Caught up in the momentum, he started to like Olivia and eventually confessed to her after school one day. But to his surprise, Olivia turned him down with a serious response. "We shouldn't date just because people think we should. Real love is about knowing your own heart." It wasn't until he met someone he truly cared for that he understood Olivia's words. He admitted. Looking back, it wasn't real attraction to Olivia. I was just going along with what others said, caught up in the idea of dating someone popular. He looked over at me and continued. "Olivia never shared what happened between us. She kept it private to protect my pride. I see you in her social media often, and knowing Olivia, I figure you must be a good guy too." After he left, I opened Olivia's profile. Her background photo was a picture of us together. Every post was set to public. Scrolling down, I realized that before we were together, her posts were just about her daily life. But since last year, every update had something about me. Casual shots of my profile, photos of me dozing off in the library. Olivia's friends clearly knew who I was because she'd told them about me. "Ethan's always too busy studying to remember to eat, so I have to bring him lunch," she'd say. No wonder my roommate kept saying everyone knew I was Olivia's special someone. I glanced at my own profile. My empty feed was mostly required reposts from school clubs with no trace of Olivia. No wonder Chloe assumed I didn't care about her. Remembering Olivia's sad expression yesterday, I began to understand. I called my mom and asked, "Did I ever tell you about my girlfriend?" There was a noise on her end, likely from a lively game. Her response, however, struck a nerve. "When did you ever tell me? You just announced you had a girlfriend during New Year's. Ethan, listen to me. Be careful about who you choose. Last time, Chloe said she saw your girlfriend hugging some other guy." I interrupted. "Mom, that was her cousin. Don't believe Chloe's stories." Mom paused. "So, what's your girlfriend like?" "She's the best," I answered firmly. After a moment of silence, she added, "Ethan, I know you. You may feel deeply, but you only show a fraction of it. If you're calling me now, I bet you've had some disagreement. You're not one to express your feelings, but relationships require that—" She suddenly shouted, "I won! Pay up, everyone!" and hung up, leaving me staring at my phone, bewildered. I'd always thought that love was a private matter between two people, not something to display to the world. Olivia had never pressured me to post about her or show off our relationship. She was always like that, never demanding anything from me. But now, I realized that while Olivia loved me wholeheartedly, I hadn't given her the security she needed. Chloe's interference only made her insecurities worse. I knew I had to talk to Olivia, but before I could reach Olivia, Chloe found me. I was surprised to see her outside my dorm building. "I want to talk," she said. I realized it was time to end things with Chloe. Her endless meddling would only fuel Olivia's anxieties. I agreed, but I sent Olivia a message before heading out. "Chloe wants to talk. I'll be back soon." This, I thought, was my first step in showing Olivia that I cared. We went to a restaurant near the back gate. Knowing Chloe couldn't handle spicy food, I ordered several spicy dishes anyway. "I can't eat spicy food," she protested. "Then order something else for yourself," I replied. Her eyes filled with hurt. "You never used to talk to me like this." In the past, I would have been considerate, but not this time. "We still haven't addressed the fact that you lied to my mom about Olivia." "It's not a lie if it's true. How can you be sure he's her cousin? Do you really know her family?" she challenged. "Am I stupid?" I replied, frustrated. "Pretty much," she shot back. "You've always been clueless." I laughed coldly. "So, you think you're the only smart one, and everyone else is just naive?" Realizing her words, Chloe stammered, "I didn't mean it that way. I'm just trying to protect you." "Mind your own business," I replied dismissively. She reached for my sleeve, but I pulled back. "Why her? Wouldn't it be better with someone you've known forever?" I could hear the implication in her words and clenched my teeth. "Do you even hear yourself? Yes, I'm crazy," she burst out. "I regretted it ever since I started dating Noah. I thought about you the whole time we were together. I like you, but I just got angry back then with all the jokes my mom and others made." Her outburst made things clear. That comment from Noah's old post about childhood friend versus fate, it was about me. My disgust toward Chloe only grew. If she didn't like Noah, why date him? Noah used to tell me, "Ethan, I really admire you. You're smart, and you're a great guy. But in terms of Chloe, it's fair competition as long as she's single." I remembered his bright smile. He'd chased her for 3 years, yet their relationship lasted just 2 months. How unfair was that? Chloe continued, "Can we start over? Don't you want me anymore?" Before I could answer, the table behind suddenly burst with the sound of playing cards. "Can't beat that Tilda." Chloe's face darkened. I replied, "If you truly liked me, you wouldn't have humiliated me in front of everyone back then. You've always put yourself first, leaving me with your leftover feelings. Is that even love?" Her eyes reddened, and before she could respond, the same voice interrupted again. "No, Tilda." After a moment of silence, she said, "I'll wait for you no matter what." And just then, the same voice added, "Hurry up already, we're all getting old here." I stood up and walked over to the next table. The person curled up in the booth, watching the game on her phone, looking up at me with a guilty expression, was Olivia. Olivia and I walked back to the dorm together. I asked, "Enjoying causing trouble?" Olivia pouted. "Who told her to try and steal my guy?" I chuckled. "Who says she even stands a chance?" She replied, "The textbooks all say that these dramatic moves can win someone over." I held out my hand. "Which textbook?" Olivia's face turned red as she reluctantly handed over her phone, where an open file titled "Defeating the Childhood Friend, Winning the Heart of the Popular Guy" was displayed. I laughed out loud. "You call this a textbook? Why don't you send this to your professor?" She snatched her phone back. "Don't be like that. I still need some dignity with my seniors." Olivia was known for her polite, distant demeanor in the lab, but with me she was like a little puppy wagging her tail. Only I knew how affectionate Olivia could be. After a moment of silence, she whispered, I was afraid. The book said I needed to play some tricks to make you realize how much I mean to you. I was scared that if I went too far, you'd actually leave." With her head down, she added, "I'm sorry, I shouldn't have eavesdropped on your conversation." I reached out to touch her face, feeling the warmth of her tears on my hand, my heart filled with guilt. I pulled Olivia into my arms and said, "You don't need those tricks. I'll love you anyway." Olivia froze in my embrace. "Olivia, I'm sorry for not showing you how much I care," I said. Following Olivia's example, I changed my profile's background to our photo and introduced her to everyone I knew. Everyone now knew that Olivia was my beloved girlfriend. I learned from her how to express my feelings openly, no longer afraid to let the world know. Once, I needed to use Olivia's phone to register for an account. She handed it over without hesitation. Moments later, a string of messages popped up. From Chloe's number. Curious, I opened the chat. Chloe had sent Olivia over 10 photos of the two of us from years ago. Olivia's response was a single photo of herself leaning into my arms. Chloe's angry, hurt replies followed as she spat insults at Olivia. Olivia's reply read, "It's not my fault you couldn't hold on to Ethan. You always expected him to tolerate your selfishness, as if he'd never leave you because of your history together. But Chloe, no one is irreplaceable. Ethan deserves something better." Chloe went silent for a long while before replying, "What do you know? I've known him since we were kids. My bond is deeper." Olivia's answer was quick. "If time alone is what makes love, then you should marry the earth, since you've been together forever." Then, as if she'd found an opening, Olivia added, "Goodbye, little auntie. Don't forget to bring a generous gift for our wedding." Chloe responded with a bitter emoji, then blocked her. I rarely posted on social media, but on graduation day, I shared, "June isn't just for graduation gowns. It's for my bride, too." The post included a photo of my graduation picture and our marriage certificate. Friends from high school flooded the post with likes, many commenting on how I'd always been one to make big moves. Chloe was the first to like it. Moments later, her profile icon went dark. Speaking of the proposal, it ended up being a bit of a funny mishap. Olivia and I somehow had the same idea at the same time, and pulled out rings at the amusement park where we'd first declared our love. We stared at each other's rings for a few seconds, before bursting into laughter and hugging tightly. And so, we exchanged rings on the spot. Our families met for dinner afterward. Olivia's mother, who's from out of town and has a feisty personality, couldn't stop talking about how Olivia needed someone calm and steady to balance her out. Later, back at the hotel, my mom pulled me aside. "Olivia is a great girl, Ethan. You better treat her right." I chuckled. "You're saying that after just one meeting?" Mom replied, "You can tell from her parents. Her father looks at her mother with so much love. Her mom may be a bit fiery, but she still acts playfully with her dad. That's real harmony. Kids from families like that know how to love, and I can tell she's taught you a thing or two about showing your emotions." Thinking about the times I'd been reserved with Olivia, I felt a twinge of guilt. Just then, there was a knock on the door. "Ethan, I bought tons of sparklers. Come on, let's go play." I opened the door, and Olivia stood there with a bright smile. I took her hand in mine, grateful that it wasn't too late. The next time I saw Chloe was at my wedding to Olivia. I was adjusting my suit when she suddenly appeared behind me. I waited for her to speak, but instead she pulled a red envelope from her pocket and handed it to me. "Here's a wedding gift. Or you could just come with me right now," she said with a hopeful look. Under her intense gaze, I took the envelope and said, "Congratulations, you're the first to give your little nephew a gift. He'll remember this." Chloe's eyes widened. "Olivia's pregnant?" I smiled and nodded. "Yes, Chloe, you're going to be an aunt." She went quiet, then said, "Have you thought about it? What if Olivia's feelings waver in the future? Are you really ready for marriage?" It's interesting. I've always been a reserved person, one who doesn't speak much. In high school, I'd see proposals on TV and wonder how people could say such mushy things without feeling embarrassed. But when the moment came, I had no hesitation. I simply pulled out the ring and said the words that felt so natural. "Olivia, will you marry me?" Now, as Chloe questioned me, I looked her in the eyes and answered, "Chloe, you're mistaken. Love isn't just about being constant. It's about falling in love again and again every time it's Olivia. Every time she meets me at the library, every time her eyes are full of me, every time she fills her feed with our life together, I fall for her all over again. Just the way she looks at me. That alone makes me love her more." I finally understood the courage that comes from a healthy relationship. Glancing at the bridal gown, peeking from behind the door, I smiled. Every day with her is a gift from fate, and I'm willing to face any uncertainty in our future as long as I get to enjoy our present together. I may have been unlucky with Chloe, unable to find harmony with her, but I'm lucky that Olivia patiently taught me how to show my love. Olivia finally emerged from her hiding place, her face flushed. She reached out her hand, and I took her bouquet and placed it in Chloe's hands. "My goddess of fate is here, Chloe. I wish you all the happiness too." As I passed her, I whispered, "Learn to speak kindly in the future, Chloe." Behind me, she murmured, "There won't be anyone else." I didn't look back. After the wedding, my mom told me Chloe had flown abroad that very day, leaving her parents fuming. Occasionally, I'd get messages from her overseas. Just small greetings that never crossed any boundaries. Chloe seemed to be holding on to the past, but I wasn't responsible for her pain. Every time I received one, I'd show it to Olivia. She'd guess who it was, and always huff about not caring, then snuggle into my arms and pout. One time, while using Olivia's computer for work, I noticed a folder on her desktop. Curiosity got the best of me, so I clicked it open. It was filled with photos and videos of us, though I didn't recognize the first video. I played it. In the video, Olivia held her dog, looking rather glum. "My little prince, can you complete your mission?" she asked, patting the dog's head. It wagged its tail. A moment later, a boy appeared on the screen. It was me, walking past with a stack of books during our second year. Olivia nudged the dog forward, whispering, "Go on. Remember to stick to that big brother for a bit. If you do well, I'll give you a treat." The dog hesitated, so Olivia gently pushed it toward me. She murmured, "Go on. If you do this, you'll have a dad someday." The video ended there. I sat there, stunned. It was Olivia who had orchestrated our first meeting. She had intentionally sent her dog to me. It was all her plan. I looked at Olivia, who was now blushing furiously, avoiding my gaze. "So," I said teasingly, "you've been planning this for a long time, huh?" She pouted. "It's not what it looks like. I thought you were cute, and I wanted to get to know you, but I was too shy to approach you directly, so I used my dog as an excuse." I chuckled, pulling her into my arms. "You're unbelievable," I said, but my voice was full of affection. "Are you mad?" she asked, her voice small. "Mad?" I kissed her forehead. "I'm ecstatic. You're the most adorable, clever, and slightly mischievous girl I know. And I love you more than words can say." Olivia buried her face in my chest, her arms wrapping tightly around me. "I love you too, Ethan. More than anything." A few years later, Olivia and I were sitting on the sofa, watching a movie. Our little boy, Leo, was playing with a fluffy white puppy at our feet. The puppy, a descendant of Olivia's original matchmaker, was just as playful and mischievous as its ancestor. Leo, giggling, tried to put a tiny bow tie on the puppy's collar. "Look, Daddy, he's going to be a handsome boy just like you." Olivia smiled at me, her eyes sparkling with the same love and mischief I'd fallen for years ago. "See? I told you," she whispered. "If he did that, he'd have a dad someday." I leaned over and kissed her, feeling the same rush of love and gratitude I felt every day. Chloe and all the drama of the past felt like a distant, faded memory. My life, my happiness, was right here, in this moment, with Olivia and our little family. And it was perfect.